If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-Pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350 today.
Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway is a tradition in motorsports, with the All-American 400 happening at the racetrack every single year. This place means racing, and it's even making a comeback in the NASCAR circle, with NASCAR and Speedway Motorsports Incorporated trying to get NASCAR racing on a national level back at the fairgrounds. Welcome to the virtual Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. My name is Andrew Cardona IV. I've got Zach Burdos alongside. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and this evening's coverage of the DLine Racing League Seagull High Aviation All-Star Race. That's a mouthful, Zach, but we're glad to be here at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway as always. And this evening, Seagull High Invitation bringing us coverage of this race. This is a really cool deal. We have payouts. We have payouts through the whole top 3, I believe. Awards being paid out. This is a really cool night of racing that we have ahead of us, thanks to Scott Myers and everybody over at Seagull High Aviation. And hey, a big shout out to you guys at Seagull High that are just getting back into the swing of things, or for some of you, getting into high school for the very first time in your lives as freshmen. That is definitely a daunting time, and best of luck, of course, to the class of 2024, 5, 6, 7, all of you guys that are now in. But Zach, we've got racing on our minds this evening at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Glad to be here. A really cool racetrack. Every time we come here, it's good racing. Let's take a look at the track map.
Yeah, absolutely. Nashville is known for a lot of great races. Like you said, Andrew, the All-American 400. There's a lot of pro late models and super late model races that take place here, and what a track to do it at, especially with ARCA that comes here as well. It's somewhat like a combination of Bristol and Martinsville. It's got long straights. It's not got the tightest corners in the world, but they're quite banked. I'm not sure what the banking is actually, though, for Nashville, so it's hard to compare it.
I believe it's in the 20s. I want to say mid-20s, around 24, 25 degree banking.
Now, we're talking Talladega banking. aren't we? Because Talladega is banked, what, 26 degrees?
I believe Talladega sits at 32 most of the way around.
Never mind.
And well, it's still pretty tall banking. It is definitely up there. I mean, we're talking about Charlotte Motor Speedway kind of levels at 24 degrees. That
For
kind
a short
of
track, too.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of banking. It's not quite Winchester or anything, but Nashville's definitely got some decent banks in the corners, and that's just the track map. How about the point standings that we had this season come out to a close last week at IRP, Zach? When it all came down to it, Tim George came through with a clutch race win in the final race of the season, but wasn't quite able to get past Zach Shucker. He got to Zach Shucker's point total, wasn't able to get any further, ended up equaling the number of points as the number 48 car for the entire season, a tie broken by 6 wins to Zach Shucker. What a way for things to work out.
Yeah, Tim George, he rose to the occasion, but did not elevate his point standings, and ended up still hitting second place, and they had to tie. Talk about Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards. I think we pulled up that analogy last week when we came across this, but we were discussing it the whole time. They were fighting. It was, who was it? Zach Shucker, Brandon Webb, and maybe Zach Lindgren? No, he pulled out to a second place finish. It was all the other guys who were fighting for about 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And we had said that if Shucker does not get these positions, that Tim George could run away with the championship. And what do you know it? Shucker pulled out one heck of a hat trick, was able to put it up into 3rd, almost lost all of that time, and yet he still managed to be able to get it.
All right, now our heat format, I just got word, has been modified a little bit, not by choice, but we do have Whiplash SimCam's race details. Let's get right into that and kind of skip a couple of steps here, because this is kind of a developing situation for us. We're supposed to have 2 qualifying duels, Zach, that we're going to set us up with a full field of 14 cars this evening, but the top 2 have advanced straight from qualifying into the feature, and the format, I think, was expecting maybe 1 car more than we have this evening, so it has set everybody into 1 heat race. So instead of duels, we've got 1 heat race on the racetrack, which will be 15 laps to set our feature race lineup. But it has sent Brandon Webb, our pole sitter, and Addison Cook into the race session. They'll be waiting for these guys to run their heat race. They are already advanced. Then when we get to the feature race this evening, it's a 75-lap race with 3 stages, 30, 30, and 15. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. A $100 total purse. A big thank you to Scott Myers and Siegel High Aviation for that. Zach, let's see if we can quickly get through our grid this evening for this heat race. Zach Shucker on pole, David Levine second, Michael Della Sala third, with Brian Miller starting from the 4th spot. Row 3, it's Bradley P. Wilson on the inside, Spiro Poulos on the outside in position number 6, Kevin O'Hara, Sean O'Hara, row 4, then Scott Myers and Jeff Height back in row 5, and finally Jack Gunsit and Joey Tack at the final row to join us in this heat race. It's only the heat race, though. We've got a lot of racing to go this evening at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Green flag is out. We are off and away for 15 laps in our heat in the DLine All-Star Race. One lap complete, Zach Shucker out front, and Zach, that's exactly where we expect that 48 car leading this race. I'm a little surprised, though, that he wasn't one of the fastest qualifiers.
It's a little surprising, considering he was our champion this year. He's usually up at the front, but you can see there's a lot of good battles going on throughout the middle of the pack. A lot of cars side by side, filed out throughout, I believe, the top 5, as that is Sean O'Hara and Spiro Poulos fighting for the 6th position. Spiro Poulos on the outside, a little bit of contact, I think, coming off turn 2 as David Levine goes purple that lap.
And now Bradley Wilson looking to the inside of Brian Miller. This is for 4th position, cars 26 and 15, as just behind, Spiro Poulos stays on the outside of Sean O'Hara. Kevin O'Hara just behind this fight, and that big bump on the inside of turn 2, getting the 18 car all kinds of unsettled. Sean lets Spiro have that spot. That's for 6th position, and we'll come back to this fight with Bradley P. Wilson working on the back end of Brian Miller. This again for 4th position. And Bradley is really working on him. He was to the inside a couple of moments ago, but there you see Brian Miller purple that lap. These guys are running some heaters on lap 4 and 5.
Yeah, you saw David Levine go purple a few laps, then you saw Michael De La Salle go purple for 2 laps, and now you've got Brian Miller going purple. So all of these drivers are really just turning up the heat. They've only got a short run. They can make use of these tires, and David Levine is breathing down the neck of Zach Shucker going into turn number 3. They're only separated by about a car length or 2. De La Salle right behind them. So the top 5 have really broken away, and they've gotten into their own little fight as Levine is still closing that gap. He's got it down to half a car length.
David has been especially close a couple of times, but as we come up to halfway in this heat, he's not getting any closer than he already has been, and he has not been alongside that car yet. As spinning is Michael De La Salle out of turn number 4, loose on corner exit, loops it nearly on the front stretch, hangs onto it just as here comes Jeff Height to the inside of Kevin O'Hara. Kevin makes brief outside wall contact and slides in to the 8th position up front. We've got a battle for 3rd now as Bradley Wilson is on the inside of Brian Miller.
Yeah, De La Salle did a great job of locking it down, and these two are now side by side. Wilson, Miller still hanging tough with each other as Levine's on the back bumper of Shucker. Miller's gonna... Ooh, he's clear. Yes, he is. Wilson clears Miller, but there's still bumper to bumper going down in turn 1.
Kevin O'Hara around on the front stretch. Joey Tackett involved. No caution as of yet, and I think we'll try to stay green as O'Hara's turned around. This could get messy. Caution.
Right in front of the leaders come off of turn number 4. Miss it. Thank you. Looks like we are all clear now.
So a spin around there for Kevin O'Hara. And caution comes out here in heat race number only, if you will. And I believe it was Kevin that lost it in the first place. Here's a look back at it from our TV cams, the replay. Kevin got in deep on the inside of turn 3 and was trying to wrestle the car back onto the banking when contact was made from behind. Let's get another look at that. He went to the inside. He was looking to the inside of Jeff Height, it looked like, and didn't exactly have room down there.
Yeah, looks like he just threw the car in there. Oh, he got stepped on the apron a little bit, and then there was the contact right there. Oh, he's in the air off the front bumper of Scott Myers.
We've got cars spun around under caution. Jeff Height just looped it around under yellow. Might have been contact. I'm really not sure how we ended up in this predicament, but here's a look at it. Jeff Height, the 24 car. Oh,
he got hooked by Scott Myers.
I'm
not sure what that was about. Oh, and indeed, it's the inside wall.
Kevin O'Hara trying to check up.
Kevin O'Hara locks it down.
And all while Bradley Wilson is just trying to get out of the pit lane down to the inside. He's just trying to get on through and mind his own business, and these guys are having issues on the front stretch. I'm not sure what went on there, but our pacing field is ready to go back. Green flag racing behind the iRacing.com pace truck. And Zach, this sets us up with a 2-lap run, natural green-white checker to the end of this heat race. It'll be Zach Shucker on the outside in his late grandfather's paint scheme, David Levine or Lightning McQueen down on the inside of row 1, then Brian Miller 3rd, Sean O'Hara 4th, and Spiropoulos rounding out the top 5, back into the restart zone. Green flag, back out at Nashville. And down to turn 3, it'll be white flag, this time by Shucker on the inside, Levine outside. We have a fight for the race lead.
And Levine's holding tough out there. They almost made a little bit of contact. White flag's out. And they're side by side into turn 1.
White flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. A bobble there on the inside from Shucker. Levine knows the outside is better. He's been here before in a couple of different race cars. He's going to use that advantage to get the heat race win and transfer to the feature in the 3rd position in our lineup. And a crash on the front stretch relegates, I believe it was Sean O'Hara and Brian Miller to the rear of the field. A couple of cars losing it there at the end of our heat race, having a bit of fun trying to find grip out of the final corner. Michael De La Salle does not make it back to the checkers, and that means that this guy, David Levine, He got a brief moment to celebrate there. Couldn't quite get to burnouts, but you're right. Big time ka-chow, if you will, for David Levine. And I want to go back and say, you know what? I was wrong. It was not Brandon Webb on pole. Addison Cook this evening, newly engaged, is our driver on pole this evening. How about that? Big time pole position for him. Glad to see it for the 420 machine. Let's run down through your entire lineup this evening for the Siegel High Aviation All-Star Race. Addison Cook on pole, Brandon Webb outside pole in the second position. Starting from third spot this evening, it's David Levine, Zach Shucker through that not through the invert, but that heat race. We'll start from the fourth spot. Starting fifth, it's Spiro Poulos, sixth, Jeff Height, and to round out the top half of the field, Zach, it's Sean O'Hara in seventh.
Yeah, Scott Myers right there too is outside in the 8th position, and sucks for them. I think they were involved in a few things in the heat race. Kevin O'Hara right behind them in the 9th place with Jack Gunset to his outside, starting 9th and 10th. That's your row 5 for tonight. And then Joseph Tackett, Bradley Wilson, 11th and 12th place, row 6 on the evening, and then your last row, the last 2 cars, Brian Miller and Michael Della Sala after their late race incident coming to the checkered there. And yeah, that's your full rundown tonight, Andrew, and we've got 100 laps at the National Fairgrounds.
75
and
laps.
Personally, 75 laps, excuse me, and I'm not gonna lie, Andrew, I think we have an invert of some sort, because that's David Levine up there on the inside.
So what's happened here is Addison Cook had 700 and change ping earlier on in the session, and he has dropped connection this evening. I'm not sure if he's been sent to the rear or if he's trying to start from the pit lane, but regardless, Addison is not in, well, okay, so he is in the pit lane. So he's starting from the pit lane due to the blinking. So he transferred straight in with the top qualifying spot, but will not be joining us for the race, at least the start of the race. He'll be joining us after the start. That's a little bit interesting, but you see there, bottom right of your screen, 75 lap race, 3 stages at 30, 30, and 15. So 2 equidistant runs to get this race kind of going into a groove, and then a short 15 lap run, just like you saw in our heat race, to get this race finished up. Brandon Webb, your effective pole sitter, into the restart zone, waiting on that green flag from Barney the Flagman. It's out. We are green flag racing in the All-Star race at Nashville. The contact for the back of the field. 1 lap will go complete this time out of turn number 4, and it is all David Levine with the race lead. Showed some muscle there at the end of the heat race, takes the lead over in the All-Star race, and now to the inside, Spiro Poulos looking for 3rd.
Yeah, Levine was able to take advantage to get the lead there. Brandon Webb hit the walls. We got 1 car going around the apron. That's Jack Gunset. He's stopped up in the high groove now.
Oh boy!
Turn 1 there, the leaders.
The leaders going by. Jack, no, that's gonna be a DQ for Jack. I don't know where he's reversing to. Wow, I'm surprised iRacing didn't DQ him there, as we've got cars slowing and a late caution finally comes out. Oh boy, Jack was on a mission. He hit reverse and really reversed. He backed it up, Terry.
He wanted that caution. He really wanted that caution.
And Zach, you know what they call that in aviation?
What do they call that?
That would be a deviation.
Well,
I'm not sure how he got in this. Yeah, that is a big-time deviation from the planned flight path. Let's go back and see what happened for car 73 on lap number 1, coming to lap 2. Bradley Wilson moves to the inside, Gunset wide in 3, gives an open berth here to the 26 of Brian Miller, who door checks him out of turn 4, and Della Sala trying to fill the gap and make it 3, ends up in contact there into turn 1.
Perfect pirouette from Michael Della Sala. He keeps that car going.
That is particularly unfortunate, actually, for Jack Gunset. He's minding his own business and got blindsided there into the corner. I mean, he's just chilling on his own down on the inside. Della Sala comes through, kind of moved up a little too much, and wow, big hits.
I think the only reason we didn't get a caution was because how iRacing depicts it is that if there is
Well, I'm actually,
on the
I'm going to save you. There's admin cautions.
Well, okie dokie then.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
I'll save you the trouble of the explanation. You'd be right. But yeah, admin cautions. I tell you what, they're great when there's been a lot of cautions and these guys are trying to get the race into a green flag kind of mood. They sometimes are not so great when the main admin is leading the race, and of course he's focused on the steering wheel in his hands, and it's trying, he's trying to get to the button and everything. It's part of it on iRacing. That's just part of the fun. But green flag coming back out. Lap 7 underway for the DLine Racing League Siegel High Aviation All-Star Race at Nashville. Down into turn 1. Love watching the cars set over the bump on the bottom of turn number 2. Zach Shucker gets through for the 3rd spot. And Sean O'Hara, meanwhile, from the Cup and Challenge, Spiro Poulos. And one car I saw spinning in the background. I think that's Addison Cook. No, that might be Brian Miller. Brian Miller and Kevin O'Hara, rather. Bradley Wilson also in trouble. And caution is out.
Well, that was a short run.
And Kevin O'Hara.
Kevin O'Hara can't get it going. Oh, yeah, leaders are coming.
That was a close miss there. Kevin's going to back up onto the pit lane. That will incur a penalty, but that'll be cleared by race admins. 2 deviations in a row, Zach. Did you have that on your bingo card this evening?
I did not. I most certainly did not.
Once again, Jack Gunsett.
Brian Miller.
Yeah, once again, Jack Gunsett, poor innocent bystander in this case, and problems on the front stretch galore. So Kevin O'Hara on the inside comes up a little bit. I think checked his steering a little bit. Bradley Wilson got in the back of him. Comes up, collects the 26 of Miller, collects the 73 of Gunsett, and poor Bradley P. Wilson, I think, is trying to figure out what just went across his windshield. As we've got pitters on the elevated performance pit lane. Haven't seen much pit road action yet this evening, Zach, but we got a few in the pits. Joey Tackett, Bradley Wilson, both.
Do we have the fastest 4-tire stop pit award tonight, Andrew? Or no, because it's the All-Star race?
We will, if we have 4-tire stops, and I think so far it's going to go to Bradley P. Wilson. As these guys pace around, David Levine going to re-rack them, re-stack them. If we get a yellow with an extra lap, and I'm hoping David's listening in, we've got a special guest we're going to bring into the booth and talk to mid-race, who I think will enjoy talking to us for a brief moment, Zach. We'll come back around to that in a few moments. Regardless, we're going to get a chat in with him this evening, that's for sure. But these guys now with 11 laps complete, this time by David Levine on the inside, Brandon Webb outside, Zach Shucker, Spiro Poulos, and Sean O'Hara, your top 5. Jeff Height, local to the Nashville area. 6th place, hasn't raced in a few races, trying to make some noise here in the All-Star race. Green flag back out at Nashville. Whoa, Brandon Webb way up the racetrack, multiple cars in the outside wall. Thankfully, they keep on going. Damage healing is still enabled, just like it has been all season long. 1 lap complete from the green flag. That got a little bit hairy.
Yeah, now they're still side by side for the lead. You got Zach Shucker right behind him. This is getting intense. They're coming up on the stage break in, what, another 15, 17 laps, I assume?
Once we complete this one, it's 17 away, but side by side for the race lead. Brandon Webb using the outside lane, just like Levine used on Shucker in the heat race. It is still side by side, door to door for the race lead early in this All-Star race. Only lap 14, and you know what? David recognizes that. Lets Brandon Webb have it for the time being. Going to sit back, save his stuff. We know that Levine is one of the best drivers in the field right now based on that heat race. I think he's got something. I think we might be seeing a David Levine kind of night. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that he's going to win this thing just yet, but I think we're seeing a David Levine kind of night for the first time in a long time here in the DLine Racing League. I say that, and he gets loose out of turn 4, goes way up the racetrack. I don't know if that was loose or a 4-wheel slide. Lost a lot of time to Webb and allowed Shucker to close in a little bit more, as Sean O'Hara still has company from Spiro Poulos, and Addison Cook is still doing his best Christmas tree impersonation.
I think David Levine just realized that he did not need to tear his stuff up. He still got Zach Shucker right behind him. And the more you battle, the more time you lose, and it just reeled Chucker in as you got Sean O'Hara and Spiro Poulos right behind them, closing in really, really quick. So you just got to make use of what you've got now. Don't burn your stuff up too much. And Chucker gets a big run coming off turn number 4, takes the look low, thinks better of it, falls back in line, and they're still going to stay single file throughout the top 5.
A couple of cars battling further back. Bradley Wilson racing with Kevin O'Hara. I had to get that one right. The O'Haras mix me up. I don't know how many broadcasts we're going to have to do for the D-Line Racing League for me to get that two straight, but I will say Joey Tackett's running a nice race so far. These guys are settling into a groove, and I will knock on wood for them real quick. That hopefully I don't jinx it, but they are settling in nicely, getting some laps under their belts, learning the cars a bit more, learning the track a bit more, and how it's going to evolve over the course of the night, Zach. I know these guys don't go through a ton of tire wear. There's still a lot of grip in this car. I mean, Bradley Wilson from 12th of 14 cars goes purple that lap. Clearly there's some speed back there once these guys settle in.
I think Chucker is finally starting to try to make a move on David Levine here. It looks like he took the look down to the inside on the front straightaway, though, and fall back in line. These guys, like you said, Andrew, just trying to settle in. Someone made contact with the wall there coming off of turn number 2. But Sean O'Hara, Spiro Poulos, side by side, coming off turn 4. Poulos is a little loose. I think they're going to fall in line there, though. Yeah, he's going to get right back behind Sean O'Hara. And I don't know. I think now's the time to get the track position, do what you need to do. You're coming up on the stage break here in a few laps. Just get as much track position as you can before you hit pit road and see what you can make of it.
Somebody trying to get that track position is Brian Miller, mired back here in the 9th position. And something we've been very open about is how not wide open, but nearly wide open this late model stock is on these short tracks, especially these faster short tracks in excess of a half mile. And this track checks in at just over a half mile, about 0.58 miles or so. It makes it really, really tough to pass. There's a lot of grip in the car. There isn't as much off-throttle time as other racetracks. So Brian Miller back here, I think he's a bit quicker than both Michael De La Sala and Jeff Height, but there's nowhere for him to go, Zach. I mean, there's really not a whole lot he can do. Even with 5 laps left in stage 1, there just is not a whole lot he can do. He's trying to drive it in and hang on, and this car really does reward driving in unlike any other short track car we see.
Yeah, I think the best thing for Brian Miller would just be to see if something's going to happen. I mean, look at Michael De La Sala right now. He's trying to make a move to the inside, and if he can complete it, best thing for Brian Miller would be to follow him and punch his way through. But if he can't get this track position now, so we got one car around on the back stretch, or front stretch, excuse me. Bradley P. Wilson, but we're going to stay green here as we're rolling up 4 laps to go.
There's a lot happening.
Finally, yeah, there's so much happening on this racetrack right now. Chucker's finally gotten by David Levine for second. Levine's going to try to switch back and going into 3.
It'll be 3 laps to go this time by. A lot happening around the racetrack. Spiro Poulos also losing some spots. He drops behind Addison Cook, trying to stay ahead of Michael De La Sala. Zach Chucker finally has the 59 car clear once again. 2.5 laps to go in stage number 1. Sean O'Hara now looking up at David Levine thinking, well, I don't think I can get there. And kind of relaxing. 2 laps to go now in the stage. David's got to change something. I don't know if he's got to change the way he runs his tires early, or maybe his throttle, brake points, I'm not sure. He looked great in the heat, looked great in the first 15, but once these tires took some heat and got a little bit worn out, he definitely fell back as we come around and take 1 to go in stage 1.
White flag in here, stage 1. I think David Levine still has, oh, actually, no, they're throwing the caution right now.
David Levine and those early yellows for stages. We talked about this one, David. Regardless, we have got this stage break coming up, which means, Zach, let's go ahead and grab somebody who's a bit special to us this evening, Scott Myers. Kind of the reason that we're having this all-star race in a way, and a big-time supporter behind the league all season long. Driver number 46 has been an integral part of this D-Line Racing League with these late model stocks. And Scott, we've got an extra kind of special partner this evening, Seagull High Aviation. Tell us about Seagull High and why you guys are partnering up for this all-star race.
Hey, thanks for having me on here, Andrew. We are, I teach over here at high school over here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and we have an aviation program. And part of having that program is having a club, an aviation club, and so we just kind of decided we would spend a little time this evening and host a race to bring some notoriety or some attention to our club. We've got some students that were excited about it and things like that. And, but we, at Siegel, we have 3 aviation classes. We prepare the students to pass the private pilot written exam to take their FAA license. And then we have a 4th class that's usually for our seniors, and they can take a drone class, and they can also get an FAA Part 107 licensure as they before they graduate high school. So it's kind of neat that we can issue a federal license for these students and go from there. But it's just a chance to bring some attention to the club. My principal, Mr. Creasy, allows us to be in the building and do those kind of things, and help with some things around there. We take a lot of pictures and stuff like that through the drone, and but he gives us some great leeway. And of course, my director, Miss Tyra Pilgrim, she's our county level lady in charge of us, and she's the one that gets most of our funding for us and things like that. And so, we have probably, I would say, maybe 10 or 12 flight simulators in the room.
Wow.
We have a bunch of drones. We have a DJI Inspire 2 drone, if you know what that is. So that's a very high-end drone that they bought for us, and we get the chance to use that and things like that. And then, of course, we bring in guest speakers. Just today we had Sergeant Schumann in from the Army National Guard talking to our students about opportunities post-secondary education, and so we just offer them some opportunities in aviation. The industry is what's driving this, and the industry right now is in a place where they're just needing warm bodies across the board. Pilots, mechanics, air traffic controllers, all the things that you can think about working on the airport or with airplanes, they're needing warm bodies in there. And so this gives us an opportunity to bring aviation to the front as far as kind of just give them opportunities that they can use their skill sets and find a career, hopefully in an industry that's going to give them make a great living for the rest of their lives. And so this is the first stage of that. And of course, we partner we have a university here in Murfreesboro called Middle Tennessee State University. They have an aerospace program, and they have a pro pilot program that they do over there. And we've got some young men that are on the beginning stages of that program and a couple of different spots over there. So it's kind of good to see them move on and to the next level. So it's trying to build something here that's making a difference.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of high schools have their own special programs, but I had never heard of a high school having an aviation program. This is awesome. It really is a cool deal to get so many young adults started into that kind of career space. And I'm curious, what kind of school year does that turn that into? I mean, there's 180 days that you have to get everything crammed into. How hectic does it become for you as the instructor?
Well, we do that over 3 years. We have an intro to aerospace class that kind of introductory level, like to mostly freshmen, and then a few sophomores that maybe didn't get in early. And we just kind of skip like skipping a rock across the water. We just hit a lot of these young people, mostly young men, but we have a number of young ladies this year that's with us, but they don't know anything about airplanes. For the most part, most students know nothing about airplanes, and so it's just a chance to introduce them to aviation and terminology and technology. And we just finished up this week. We've been talking about latitude and longitude, and it's and we go from there. We build on that for three classes total, and at the end of that, most of these students they're about ready to take the test if they want to do that. And of course, we'll pay for all that if they want to get an FAA test under the belt. We have our high-end classes, our Aviation 2 classes. We have a Redbird FMX. It's a 3-axis, fully enclosed flight simulator. So it's a very high-end item that the county was gracious enough to find some funding for us to use. And so, I mean, it's a great opportunity for these students. So we're thankful that we can get a chance to do that, expose them to aviation. It's fun to watch them grow, especially these 3 and 4 year students that I've had. It's fun to see them kind of understand what's happening with the aviation and the maturing process and things like that. So it's fun to watch.
I'll tell you what, Scott, thank you a ton for the insight. We're going to talk to you one more time before the night is over. This has been a really cool night already. Thanks a bunch to Siegel High Aviation for partnering up for this all-star race. Hopefully at the beginning of something a whole lot larger.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We'd like to get involved in more of this.
So Scott Meyer is currently running down in the, well, I'm going to say what? It looks like restarting in the 13th position, 12th position,
yeah,
something like that.
I'm in the top 25, so I'm doing good.
Well, yeah, top 15. That's the goal this evening. Scott Myers coming to the coming to the green flag here. We are back green. Joey Tackett out front as we begin stage number 2. Bradley P. Wilson in the second spot. Zach, we're back green flag racing. That was a lot of great insight from Scott Myers about Siegel High Aviation. We'll be talking to him again, but we're 3 wide out of turn number 2, 4 wide down to turn 3.
Yeah, a few cars just hit the wall right there, but it seems like they've got it back out for the most part. As we've got one
car spinning.
That is on the front stretch.
Yeah, Spiro Poulos. A quick halt for him, and caution will come out quickly. 1 lap complete from that bit of extended caution break. Didn't mean to rush poor Scott out of here at the restart. I thought he was done there, but we'll make sure we talk to him one more time before the evening's done. Let's check back and see what happened to Spiro Poulos on the restart. Here's the full restart lap. You see these guys were a little bit disjointed with the blinking there from Addison Cook. And Joey went pretty nicely. It looked like he got through second into third okay, but maybe third into fourth was a bit of a slow shift for him. And then out of turn 2, checking up, off the nose there, Bradley Wilson, put Bradley in the fence a little bit, and everything just got jumbled up here out of turn 4. Oh, Joey came down ever so slightly.
There's contact.
Oh, man.
Right off the nose of David
Oh, Kevin O'Hara.
My goodness.
What a near miss.
That barely got by there.
Yeah, there was a lot going on back here. It's Joey Tackett, I think, he had the most eventful restart we've seen probably this season. So he checks up there out of turn 2, right? And then down the front stretch, something, I'm not exactly sure how he and the 51 come together just yet. I think the 3 just kind of gets loose, comes down. David Levine not even involved. Oh.
You, my goodness.
Nice miss there by Kevin O'Hara. Yeah, really nice miss there by Kevin. We're going to have about 16 laps to go in stage number 2 when we come back green as Bradley Wilson catches back up to the field. And Zach, it looks like we have a new fastest pit stop of the race by Elevated Performance, checking in at 20.72 seconds, I do believe. No, it's actually just slightly slower than Jeff Height, who had 4 tires and fuel earlier at 20.42 seconds. I believe that might be the fastest 4-tire stop. Might be a couple of different ones out there. It's hard to keep up sometimes, and we are back green flag racing. Brandon Webb out front, Zach Shucker straight to second. And quickly, second no longer is the 48 car. Slide job there into turn 3. David Levine goes right on through, takes over second spot, moves Shucker back down to third, but those chrome blue rims are not done yet, Zach. Nearly contact there through turn number 2.
That was a clean move by David Levine getting up there in the second. He was really able to capitalize on the bottom because Joey Tackett did not get a very good restart, and that puts Addison Cook up in the P4 as well. But Levine, just an outstanding crossover move right there, and he goes purple, so he's a man on a mission right now.
I think Addison Cook might be the fastest car here this evening as we've got a spinner. Car 14, Michael Delasalle in the back, has gone around, and he is still around. No caution yet. We're waiting on it here. I think we're going to get one. Yes, caution flag comes out as Levine, then Shucker goes purple. And, crash for the leaders, trying to get by Michael Delasalle, who was parked on the backstretch. Cars littering the backstretch, and I think there might be one very upset Brandon Webb right now.
Yeah, oh my goodness, Delasalle maybe a little bit more than upset for Brandon Webb, but I'm sure with how generous the league is with giving spots back, I'm sure Brandon Webb will be able to get his spot back in the front of the field. Looking back at it, coming off the lap prior, now the lap of.
Can we tack it just ahead? Sean O'Hara to the inside. What happens here to the 14 car? Loose on quarter exit, much like when he got loose earlier out of turn 4 in the heat race. Kevin O'Hara ended up getting ricocheted down to the inside. I will say I'm a little confused as to how the rest of this happens, if I'm being entirely honest. De La Salle here. Oh, boy.
Oh, Brandon Webb goes low to avoid and swerves back up. He did not expect De La Salle to go back to the bottom, and you can see here he's just parking it, and back away goes Michael De La Salle, and then whoop, right back into the inside wall.
Take one more look here, as there was already some fun stuff happening out of turn number 2. I want to see the crash, and then I want to see the poor reaction for Brandon Webb. And as if we can get this in before we go back green, it's going to be close. And actually, I think we're getting ready to go back green in just a moment. So there's one more look at the spin for Michael De La Salle. And I believe our leaders are just about to enter the restart zone here briefly. Okay, we have a half a lap. Still good to come back around and check in with these guys. Weather conditions of this race, by the way, 76.8 degrees in the air. Partly cloudy with a track temp of 79 degrees and dropping as this race goes on. Couple of pit stops this race, but none under this yellow. And these guys, I believe, only have 1 or 2 sets in the pit lane. It's a bit of a limiting factor for these guys. When do you want to take that set of tires? I think everybody took them early, which I can't really blame them. It's going to be tough to get them run in that last 15-lap run. But with 25, now 24 laps to go, we are back green inside of 10 to go in stage 2. Levine back on the outside of Shucker for second.
Didn't fire off too well on that restart. Addison Cook right there on his back bumper. But as we saw in the heat race, Levine is using that outside line.
Oh, he got the wall. Yeah, he got loose out of 4. He got loose out of 4, hit the wall a ton. And that backspin to 4th spot behind Addison Cook, now right in front of Brian Miller and Sean O'Hara as a caution is out again. Spiro Poulos, Jeff Height, and Kevin O'Hara.
And on that note, it was just informed to us over race control that this will be the stage break for stage number 2.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, that was a rather large one.
It's funny, Andrew. You were just talking to me about how you were watching Nerdmo Media earlier and it caught you with a jump scare at the end. That's my jump scare for the night. I was not expecting that.
Wow.
Boom.
I'm glad this is a simulator. So the stage break coming about 6 laps early. You know, we gotten used to the 1 lap early kind of business. 6 laps early. I'm going to have to talk to that 59 guy. But this will set us up for a slightly longer stage 3. This now makes it, when we go back green, we'll call it 18 laps, depending on when these guys actually restart. It's going to change things up a little bit, and it's interesting. I think it's going to work against David Levine, who's been great on the short run, a little bit worse on longer runs. Let's see if we double up this time, if we get the 1-to-go signal or not from the pace car, and the answer is no. We do have a couple of takers. Kevin O'Hara, Spiro Poulos to the pit lane, brought to you by Elevator Performance.
And let us see if we have anybody who's going to set a faster time. O'Hara and Poulos up on the right sides. Do they take lefts?
Lefts for O'Hara, lefts for Poulos? Yes.
3.
Now, I believe the fastest one that I still see is that 20.4 for Jeff Height.
That was close, though. 20.9 for Poulos, but what about O'Hara?
Well, it's 22.5 for O'Hara. There are a couple of 19-second times, though. And this is Addison Cook. He started from the pit lane, so we're not going to get his time. But David Levine just might have it. And if he If he finishes in the top 3, we're going to have to ask him. Because if that was 4 tires and fuel, that just might be it at a 19.4. But we've seen this season, all 4 tire stops have come in closer to 21. I'd be surprised if he had one that was at 19.4. But I think it's possible. So we'll have to talk to him if he finishes in the top 3 this evening. Regardless, Levine coming to this restart from the 4th position. Christmas tree Addison Cook on the inside will restart from 3rd. Your front row, though, is Brandon Webb and Zach Shucker, your 2 winningest drivers of this season. Green flag is back out at Nashville. Well, the contact at a turn 2 between Levine and Cook down to turn number 3. And here comes Sean O'Hara in the 18 as that fight's going to get a little bit messy for 3rd on back as Cook takes over the 3rd spot ahead of David Levine and Sean O'Hara. Meanwhile, the big fight now as we're into stage number 3 is between these 2, Brandon Webb and Zach Shucker out front. Oh so close and yet oh so far apart as Webb has dominated this Siegel High Aviation All-Star race.
Yeah, Webb has led most of the night tonight. Levine was out in front for a little bit, but then it became Brandon Webb's race, and now he's got Zach Shucker right on his back bumper. Addison Cook 3rd, blowing in like a Christmas tree still, but the fight still remains for the leaders. You can see Shucker gets a little bit better of a run through center, but when it comes to exit, Brandon Webb seems to have it as Levine is taking a look down the inside of Addison Cook.
Oh wow, Bradley Wilson gets by Brian Miller. That's for 6th and 7th, so Cream rising to the top. I think Wilson's got more of the tank. Meanwhile, you mentioned it, David Levine was looking to the inside of Addison Cook. It makes it really difficult to race him. I give these guys props, though. He's a friend. They want to keep him in here. These guys are all friends. Let's get that out of the way first. But everybody loves Addison Cook in this group. They want to keep him in the race. Don't want to have to make him disconnect. Despite his connection issues, they're doing their best around him. And hey, it's a non-points race. They're having a bit of fun. I love that they're trying to keep him in the race. It definitely makes it difficult for them and us at times. But really cool sportsmanship there, trying to keep Addison Cook in the race as long as possible. Meanwhile, out front, we've gotten a little bit closer now, within 2 tenths between your top 2, nearly down to a 10th and a half. Zach Shucker on the offense.
He's doing everything he can to get to that back bumper of Brandon Webb. Nothing seems to be phasing that 20 car, though. Like I said, Shucker seems to roll center better, but on exit, give it to Brandon Webb. They are still very close to Addison. Oh my goodness, Addison Cook. Big swing off of turn number 2. Levine and O'Hara going on by, coming off of turn number 4. I don't think Sean O'Hara is completely clear yet. Still side by side down the front straightaway.
No, and David's going to need a caution.
Racetrack. Yeah, David's been so good tonight, but it's that short run that benefits him. And if this race keeps going on, he may either just hold 3rd or drop back a little further.
Bobble there for Sean O'Hara. He falls back. Meanwhile, things are starting to split apart for our 2 race leaders. Zach Shucker starting to fall back as well. Grabs the apron that time in turn 2. He's definitely digging, but I think he's digging a little bit too hard, a little bit too quickly. He's really flinging that shovel around, trying to get up to Brandon Webb. He's now losing time to the 20 car. Brandon, cool, calm, collected as a cucumber, driving away now inside of 10 laps to go. Make it 9 to go on the board, and the number 20 is getting further and further away. He just seems so much calmer right now behind the wheel. I think we have got our race winner unless we get a caution.
Brandon Webb is just blitzing the field right now. The only competition he has at the moment is Zach Shucker. Look at that gap from Shucker to Levine. That's how far out in front that these drivers are, from 2nd all the way to 3rd. And that's with, what, about 6-7 laps to go right now at the line, I believe.
You can see here from the static shot as well just how far back a couple of these cars have fallen now and how far out our leaders have gotten as Addison Cook now runs in the 4th spot. We'll have 6 laps to go this time by. Shucker is by no means done, but I really don't think we're going to see a change of position unless we get a caution flag here. There are a couple of cars ahead, though, that are starting to get closer and closer to being 1 lap down under this run. Those being Jack Gunsit and Kevin O'Hara as one spun around, and it's Sean O'Hara on the front stretch. Is this the caution the rest of the field needs? Sean gets it back going into turn 1. Here come the leaders, Brandon Webb and Zach Shucker into turn 1. Brandon leaves the door open slightly into the first corner, gets a good run on exit, but he's got to get by the 18 car now with 4.5 laps to go. This could get hectic.
I'm surprised he did not get a caution there for Sean O'Hara, and here he is smack dab in front of the leaders. There's Jack Gunset pulling off to the side. keeping out of harm's way for the leaders as they are now bumper to bumper, nose to tail. Sean O'Hara might start playing a factor with these drivers having a bit of a fight as Bradley Wilson's dropped back a few positions. These leaders continue to fight.
Yeah, Wilson's still racing with that 420, but now kind of sitting back from Addison Cook. 3 laps to go, that time by the flag stand, and Brandon Webb is now in the wake of the dirty air of Sean O'Hara in the 18. Does Sean get out of the way, or does he maybe play spoiler for his former roommate in the 48 car, maybe help out our series champion of Zach Shucker? I don't think he wants to get involved, but he is just ahead of our 2 race leaders now with 2 laps to go. Popsicle sticks up in the air, or I guess, what is it? Flight control flagger sticks, we'll call those this time. Now 1.5 laps to go, coming around to the white flag in this season's Siegel High Aviation All-Star Race at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. 1 lap to go, brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams, and we have got just the perfect opportunity for Shucker to turn 3. Does he send him, Zach Murtis?
I don't know what's going to happen here, but Brandon Webb with a compromised line underneath Sean O'Hara. Here they come off of turn number 4.
Checkered flag for the 20 of Brandon Webb, and the All-Star Race goes to the driver who started from 2nd position, inherited the pole. I think he's a mortgage broker or something like that. It's much less exciting than saying he has won this season's Siegel High Aviation All-Star Race. Congratulations to car number 20, Brandon Webb, to victory lane this evening. He meant no bull. He went out there and drove his hat off, maybe? He's got some pretty cool hair. I think he should definitely have his hat off. Congratulations once again, Brandon Webb. Big time win for him this evening in the All-Star Race. One of the 2 winningest drivers, couldn't quite get it done for the championship, but very deserving for him to go to victory lane this evening at Nashville.
Definitely a great performance from Brandon Webb, leading most laps here tonight, definitely. He put on one heck of a masterclass. He was able to really put that car out in front when it counted. I thought something was going to happen there at the end, but yeah, he got it done tonight.
Circled there, 52 laps led out of 75 run. That is a very impressive stat for car number 20. We'll be talking to our top 3 and Scott Myers in just a few moments. But Zach, with it all said and done this evening on the racetrack, once again, congratulations to the 20 car. Let's go through and check out our entire listing of race results for this season's Siegel High Aviation All-Star Race. Of course, we know who won. Brandon Webb out front in the number 20. Big time win for him, but 2nd place hits Zach Shucker. I know you would have liked to have finished 2nd place, but Zach, that was oh so close. I really thought Zach would send it in and at least try to get to the bumper, at least a clean kind of bump and run or something. I am so surprised there was no kind of contact or anything. It's the All-Star Race. Go in there, send him.
Yeah, I thought he was going to try to make some sort of move there, especially using Sean O'Hara as the lap car in the way. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, hey, I don't think Shucker is too worried about winning an All-Star Race. He won the championship. He doesn't have to worry about anything else.
Sure enough, David Levine comes in 3rd place this evening. Addison Cook 4th. Really solid run, given the fact that he's got 90,000 ping or something on satellite internet. I mean, big time deal there for Addison. Just trying to hang on with these guys. I'm glad he was able to finish this race. Bradley Wilson in his first DLine start goes 5th. Brian Miller 6th. And Michael Della Sala, Spiro Pulo, Scott Myers, Jeff Height, the rest of your top 10. More results here on the next screen, but we're going to bring in the man of the evening, Scott Myers. He might not have won this All-Star Race, but Scott, you gave us a lot of great insight during the first stage break about Siegel High Aviation and why you guys are partnered up for this race and what you guys do over there. Tell us more about, I guess, what you have planned specifically for this 2023-2004 school year and how you guys continue to, I guess, innovate and continue to improve your program.
Well, I appreciate this time, Andrew, and I think the biggest thing is it's on a couple levels. It's like I said before, it's watching these young people mature, but it's putting them in a position to be able to make some decisions career-wise that with the knowledge that they've gained over the last 3 or 4 years in the program that can kind of help them. We're talking about airplanes, but it goes across a broad spectrum of careers that they can do outside of aviation as well. One of the things that I'm excited about is the certifications that we're giving out through the drone program. This is our 3rd year of doing that. We've had 20 students to test. 16 of those have left high school as FAA card carrying members, and that's a federal license. So that's something that they can do in all 50 states and other places throughout the world. So if they want to jump right into it as a commercial drone pilot, that's the license that they're getting. So this year we have 17 young people taking that class, and once again, we're gonna give them all the opportunity to get to do that. But just kind of improving my craft as a teacher. This is a second career for me. By trade, I'm an airplane mechanic, and I also have a pilot's license and those kind of things. So it put me in a wheelhouse to be able to share a broad range of experience in the industry. So, but just kind of growing with that, and just finding more ways to give them opportunities. That's what our club does. If we do everything from we have, like I said, the flight simulators. We can fly drones through the club and in class. We have RC airplanes. So I've introduced a whole bunch of young people to flying RC airplanes, and we do that from a simulator standpoint. Then we put them right out there on the practice soccer field, and we have some electric airplanes that we fly around that were bought for us, and so we get a chance to do that. We build plastic models. We put together models, and we display them inside the classroom. I've probably got conservatively 40 models hanging from the ceiling, and most of those, probably 2/3 of them, were built by students, and just watching their progression. And so anything aviation related that they want to do, we give them that opportunity to get involved in that. So I've got some new guys that come in. I've got about 135 students this year. Approximately 65 of those are first-year aviation students, and then the rest are divided out in through the Aviation 1 and Aviation 2 and drone classes. So it's good to have that. Every year we get more and more students into the program, and we're very grateful for that. And we're growing, and we bring some young people in that don't know a lot about airplanes. And I've got a couple of young men that's already approached me, and their family members have contacted me about coming and speaking at our class. I've got one young man, his father is a 747 pilot. You're talking about show and tell. I mean, this guy can bring in some vast experience to the classroom that some of our students can gather up. So we're excited about the direction that we're going, and I'm very grateful for my leadership there that lets us do what we need to do, and they take care of us both at our school level and our county level, and just happy to get to do that. I do want to say something else real quick about the guys in this league. These guys are David and his admin team have done a great job of getting this going and bringing us to this format. And these cats are fast, man. I'll tell you what, it's a learning experience. Every night that I've raced with them this year, it's been a learning experience. And we started this back for me on Sunday night, and guys sharing setups and then trying to find some comfort in the car and getting faster and all that stuff. So it's fun to compete like this. But at the end of the day, these cats are fast.
Something that you mentioned really stuck out to me, the fact that you've got, conservatively, you said about 40 models above you. Is it about 46? It'd be a whole lot cooler if you said that was just the reason for your card number. And then, of course, we know if your card number starts to creep up as races go on, you must have found some more free time, I guess, over the summer vacation or something. If we start seeing 47, 48, we know you're back to building models. But
that's right.
I really am curious, of course, high school for me it always seemed like, how can I set myself up to go into the real world? Of course, it seems like all 4 years is spent trying to figure out where you end up wanting to go to college and what you're going to major in, all of that. How do your students apply this to the real world? Do they end up, do you see a high correlation of students going into the Navy or the Air Force? Do you see a high correlation going into the private sector as far as domestic aviation? I mean, how does that go? I guess, what is the correlation, just out of sheer curiosity?
So let's just kind of go off of last year. I can speak for about maybe, let's say, about 18 seniors that wound up in the final program, and probably, I'm going to say, maybe 3 or 4 of those are going to try to go right into the workforce. They did the program, but they just kind of want to do their own thing. And then I had about 3 or 4 young men that went into the military. I got a couple of guys at Paris Island right now. Got some others that are looking at going in the Air Force. So they're doing that. I got a couple that went to mechanic school. You can get your mechanic's license, and that's one of the things we're going to try to do here in Rutherford County is, if possible, is move to work on airplanes legally. As a government licensed mechanic, you have to obtain an airframe and power plant license. And we're going to try to move that into the high school so these students can actually graduate high school with a licensure that they can go right into the workforce. From what I've been told, that's a minimum $30 an hour job right now getting into the workforce. So imagine being 18 years old, just out of high school, and you've got a $30 an hour job waiting on you. So that's some great opportunities, and we want to try to provide those opportunities if we can. But a lot of those guys, I would say last year, maybe the rest of those have gone to college of some sort, some higher education. Some are going to junior college. Some have gone on into the. I think there was 3 or 4. It might have been 4 that went into the aerospace program at MTSU this past year. So it's all over the place, and I like to keep up with them, but at the same time, I don't really. I don't bother them, but I'll see them in the community, and I'll see them at other places, and they'll find me and tell me kind of what's going on. So it's good to keep in touch with them. But we have people in our that do that as well. They'll look in on them. They'll give them a call 6 months or a year after graduation just to see what they're doing, to see if how many's involved in aviation, and that number continues to grow. That number continues to grow and get larger as far as those getting in the industry. And like I said before, it's the opportunities for these young people that are. There's just a lot of opportunities out there to get involved in this if they just, choose to.
Well, Scott, really do appreciate the time, all the insight about the program over there for Siegel High Aviation. It really has been a pleasure talking to you, learning all about this. Hopefully we can do it again in the very near future with the DLine Racing League and learn more about your program and how it's developed over the next couple of months. Who knows? But Scott, congratulations on a season well done. A whole lot of development, a lot of learning. We saw a lot of improvement from you as a driver this season. And again, really is a pleasure to talk to you, learn all about the program over there at Siegel High. And, best of luck to you guys in the 2023-24 school year.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you having us around.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having us around. That is Scott Myers this evening from Siegel High. Really is a pleasure to speak with him this evening. But, Zach, we do have a race winner out there, Brandon Webb, going to victory lane, winning this all-star race, brought to you by Siegel High Aviation. And, Brandon, you did it by leading over 2/3 of the race, 52 laps led. You've had a moment to cool down, collect yourself. What was that race like behind the wheel?
Stressful. I've always said I honestly hate leading laps because you then you're kind of at the mercy of the other people, and they can kind of play the game a little bit more than you can. But it worked out. So the cautions flew at the right times, and got a little lucky at times too. So I'll take it. I'm happy to be here.
And it all came down to a short run at the end, just the way we designed it. I had the pleasure of kind of working with David a little bit on this format. Glad it worked out this way. That short run to the end really put you on focus, not only to nail that last restart, but also to hold on over Zach Shucker. And that's no easy task. He's a series champion, and he was on your back bumper lap after lap. How cool were you under the helmet, or proverbial helmet in this case, and what did you do to stay ahead?
It was all about focusing on the tiny things. I had certain things that I tried to make sure that I could get off the corner, and I felt like if I could do that without really messing up the entry, that I'd be fine. And Shucker's always one of the best on the long run anyway. So I knew that I kind of had my hands full, especially on the last restart when he was the one starting outside of me. So just focusing on the small things and trying to minimize mistakes, but. The stage break moving to the 20 to go instead of the 15 to go kind of worked into my favor as well. So, again, I was lucky to have a fast car tonight, but also lucky that some of the breaks flew my way.
And how about Sean O'Hara there at the end, just kind of scared us a little bit, like, oh, is it going to work out this way? Is Zach able to use him as a pick? How did that end up working out? How did you stay, I guess, time that perfectly to where you could kind of slide underneath him and not lose too much time?
Well, it wasn't really planned. It was one of those things that usually, especially in a big race, you kind of expect the lap cars to kind of get out of the way with 5 or 10 to go, and and Sean had other plans, and he's more than welcome to have those plans. He's he's running his race too, but I was a little frustrated by it, but it's just one of those things that I can only control what's going on in my car. So I just tried to run my race, and these cars are hard to pass with anyway. So once I got there, I wasn't trying to stay inside of them. I was just trying to get by, but it ended up working in my favor again there. Just Shucker didn't really have anywhere to go, and I think it made him a little bit more nervous about putting the bumper to me because Sean's right there on the outside too. So you take the wins where you can.
Well, Brandon, thanks for your time. Congratulations once again. Another race win for you before we close things out this season and move on to another car, it sounds like, in the fall. Congrats once more. Hopefully we'll talk to you again very soon.
Thanks, man. Have a good night.
That's $40 to pad the pockets as well of driver number 20. Brandon kind of walking away with a nice little reward. But Zach, you're talking to a Zach again. This time, he's still the champion. I'm not going to say that he's not the champion this evening, but comes up one spot short, which is not something he did very often this season.
Yeah, unfortunately not our race winner tonight, but did a good job trying to make sure he could put himself out there. Zach Shucker, you did a good job tonight. You put the car where it needed to be. You just didn't have it for Brandon there at the end. Just kind of walk us through how that went for you.
Zach may have stepped away.
He just might have. Not hearing him.
Well, we can always circle back around. He may have stepped away for a drink of water or who knows what, but we can also move back and catch David Levine, who goes third place this evening, sporting the Kachow colors one more time. And David, you won the heat race, which we had you pegged as the strongest car that wasn't Brandon Webb at that point, but things changed as the race went on. You guys had tires on for a little while, and it seemed like the balance got thrown off a little bit. What happened for you?
I'm here. Sorry, I was muted. I did not hear a dang thing. I'm sorry.
Well, we noticed right away from the get-go in the first heat race that you had speed, and we thought you were pretty much the best car that wasn't Brandon Webb in the 20. And we thought it would be a much stronger race for you over the course of the evening, but it seemed like after those tires got broken in and you had some laps on them, it seemed like the balance shifted. What happened for you?
Made a little bit of an adjustment on the first pit stop, and definitely I still think I stand by it. I think I went the right way on that adjustment, but shortening up stage 2 and running the extra caution laps so Scott could talk about his awesome aviation club. We just kind of I think that played into Brandon and Zach's hands a little bit more than mine. The plan was definitely to always take 4 on the first stage and then take 2 on the second, and then hope that I figured that everybody else up front would be taking 2 tires, so I would hope that my little bit newer left sides would kind of help rotate the middle a little bit better. And we just stage 2 we didn't get enough, really didn't get enough green flag running for the tire difference to kind of offset, and that's kind of just what it was.
Well, mentioning that you took 4 in fuel, I will say you have this evening's elevated performance fastest pit stop of the race. But you mentioned not a whole lot of time there in stage 2. It ended up being a longer stage 3, and it seemed like you were great over 15 laps in the heat. What was different there in the 20 laps to end the race?
Like I said, I still think I made the right adjustments. Maybe those guys made slightly better adjustments. This is the first race we've done all season with open setups, and kind of a little hint looking forward to next season with those bringing back the open setups again for the season of street stock racing. Surprise, surprise.
And I just mentioned with Brandon, it sounds like a new car was on the way. It sounds like street stocks. We've done some conversing, if you will, some figuring of some numbers and some different ideas. What are you most excited about? What can you tell us is coming up here in the future?
I think, without revealing the full schedule quite yet, I think we got to hammer out a couple little details here and there. But yeah, it's going to be street stocks. We're going to go the open setups because at the end of the day, there's really only 5 adjustments we can make. So, to kind of give some guys a chance to learn a little bit about that. But we're going to do some bigger tracks where there's definitely going to be some drafting in those cars. There's going to be a dirt race in there for I know I'm going to catch some hell for this, but for the farmers out there, there's some road racing for the weirdos like me, and a lot of short track racing. So it should be a lot of fun in some cars where you can definitely lean on each other a little bit easier than you can in these late model stocks. So all in all, I think this was a great season for us, and I'm really happy and really thankful for all the guys sticking with us the whole time, and for you and Zach up in the booth for everything that you guys have done. And we're definitely looking forward to coming back in a car where we think we can get the elbows out even more and put on an even better show for you guys at home.
I was going to say, elbows that were definitely out this season. Elbows going to get out even more this upcoming season later here in 2023. David, congratulations. A really strong run this evening. Maybe had a race-winning car in certain scenarios. Didn't quite pan out. Hopefully we're talking to you a lot more in the future.
I appreciate it again. Thanks again for everything that you guys have done, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Hey, are you forgetting something here? 6 letters?
Ka-chow.
There you go. We had to get that one in there. Congratulations once again, David. Hopefully we're talking to you more.
TN4. See you, buddy.
Almost forgot that ka-chow. And I know there's a fan out there watching this evening that would have been very upset if that ka-chow had not been said. But Zach Shucker's back. Looks like he could walk the dog. That conversation we had with Scott Myers, I guess, kind of threw off his post-race rhythm. But car 48 was still fast this evening, even if he came home second.
Yeah, definitely put on a bit of a show tonight, fighting with David Levine there for a little bit and fighting with Brandon Webb. But Zach Shucker, you did good tonight. You're still the champion, obviously, this being an all-star race. So just kind of tell us how it all went for you.
Yeah, I was trying something in the heat race with car setup. It didn't work like I was hoping to, and I was kind of just trying to have a good race with David, and he got the better of me from that. Dumb on me, but in the end, it didn't ultimately matter with the heat race because all that changed was which lane I started in. That was fun though, and then got into the feature there. We had the first stage caution. Everybody pretty much jumped into pit except for 2 cars. Me and Brandon took 2. David took 4. David got back up there, and then I was able to sneak by him there on one of the cautions. He got a little high in 3 and 4 and tagged the wall, and I think I had something for Brandon, but there at the end, catching the lap car really made it hard because I couldn't put the bumper to Brandon, or I would have risked wrecking all of us, and it wasn't worth it.
Well, you had the chance to do it and you didn't do it, so good for you for thinking better of it. But you still managed to pull out second place tonight, and you were fighting with David Levine. Did tire strategy have anything to come in tonight? Because I know David talked a little bit about how he was thinking with his tire strategy, and just kind of tell us how things went for you in terms of tire strategy tonight.
I was comfortable with what I was doing to the tires with both my driving style, car setup. My plan was to only pit the one time. I said, let's just take 2. It's worked pretty good for me with how the car handles on 2. And I knew with having the second stage caution going back green with 15 to 20 to go, depending on when it fell, tires weren't going to be a big deal if a couple people stayed out, because I would have been able to fire off, get a little bit of a lead, and I thought I would have been able to hold on. Brandon was pretty equal to me there at the end. Me and him were dead even in 1 and 2, 3 and 4. I was a touch better than him. Tires wouldn't have made that much of a difference. That was just car handling at that point and driver. And Brandon did a good job to not miss the bottom, so good for him there.
Well, you came home second tonight, but you're still walking away from this season as a champion. And it was good to see just you guys having some good old-fashioned racing out there, some fun after the season was to end. But, you did a really good job tonight, and we really look forward to seeing you next season.
Yep, looking forward to it. Thank you guys as always. You guys do a heck of a job. And also, once again, thank you to Elevated Performance for coming on this season and getting us up here, getting you guys to work. I think it went pretty well. The owner of the company is my neighbor, so I'll talk to him at some point whenever he's home, since he's traveling all the time.
Well,
that's
supposedly
definitely
he's still
great
your
to hear.
neighbor. We did an okay job, at least, right?
Yeah, he hasn't come over yelling at me, so that's a positive, I think.
I'd say it's a big positive.
No, I guess brown bombs, if you want to say, delivered to your doorstep, and that's a good thing, right? Nothing like that. Still neighborly, I suppose. That's always a good thing. Zach, I do want to say, as you are our champion this season, congratulations one more time, and thank you for everything you've done for us this season.
Yep, no problem. Looking forward to getting bigger and better next time and continuing to grow it. That's the goal, right?
Absolutely. And both of you two, Zachs, are a big part of that this season. Congratulations once more to you, Mr. Zach Shucker. Hopefully we're talking to you more in the future.
Yeah, hopefully Murders can run some point in Season 2, because I got a little bone to pick with him for that Phoenix wreck.
Oh,
I gotta get it back there.
we're going to have to see if we can find somebody who can alternately produce a broadcast, because I got to get out there with you guys, too, and I got to send this O2 out into the catch fence or something.
Hey, I'm game to do SRX style, like 4 or 5 of us just running around. Like, it'll work.
Well, if you guys want to touch me and put me in the wall, you're gonna have to catch me.
That's, you know what, that's a fair point.
Technically, I was ahead of you when you turned me.
Technically, I still won the race, so I don't know, man.
Hey, you did a good job to get back up there. I'm not doubting that. You're fast, but I owe you one now.
Well, we'll just have to see next time I get on the racetrack with you.
Yeah, we'll see if we can even up the score on who finishes ahead of who.
The war of the Zacks. We'll have to get Stroud and Lindgren back into it and have 4 Zacks. We can have just an exhibition race, 4 Zacks. You know what? We'll put you guys around the mini oval here at Nashville and let you guys just wreck each other and see who ends up winning this thing. I don't know. But the battle of the Zacks certainly would be a fun time. Zach Shucker, one more time, congratulations, and definitely, hopefully we're talking to you a bunch in Season 2, although I'm sure these guys would hate us talking to you more. And that is Zach Murdis, the superior Zach for the time being. I might have, but I will say, we have one special fan that was out there watching that I think has a bedtime coming up soon, and hey, we don't want to keep you guys here all night long. It was a great season, and a big set of shout-outs all around to guys like Pat Cole from Elevator Performance, and of course Scott Myers from Seagull High Aviation. It was a great season of racing, Zach, but we do have to still wrap it. We can't do a 24-hour live stream where we would talk to these guys all night, and there would be drinks involved. But I do want to take a look at our upcoming broadcast the rest of this week, or really, Zach, we have a week and a day off. So it's actually what we have coming up to begin September, as you'll be racing, speaking of you racing, you'll be racing in the UFL Elite Series at Chicagoland Speedway on September 6th. Then Friday evening, we go racing with the Barber Ford Mustang Club at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta on September 8th. Friday night, a lot of great fun racing in that Spec Mustang series. And then we get back after it with the Noble Can-Am series. Long time since we've seen them. They go racing September 10th at Sonoma Raceway. A lot of great race cars and race track combinations coming up to begin September, Zach, and a lot of great places to follow along.
Absolutely, Pit Stop TV, the best place to watch all of this racing happen. And I'm excited to get back on track with the UFL. I'm really, really excited to get back on track with the UFL, especially after the little incident IRP. We're not going to talk about it anymore. It's all well and done at this point. But
you know, Zach, when there's 40 cars, you're supposed to finish ahead of 40th.
Yeah.
It's in the finer details. I know you can skip over it. You know, it's really small text there, but you're supposed to finish, in the top 40 when there's 40 cars, not 41st or something like that out of 40.
Or not in the pit lane. We'll just say that. 20 laps down. But anyway,
hey, you still completed more laps than I did.
Yes, that is true. You watched more laps than I did, though, so congrats.
Well, that's one way to look at it. And you know what? With that, since I got that zinger in, that gut punch, that uppercut, I'll even shout out the social media. How does that sound? Facebook.com/pitstoptv, Instagram.com/pit_stop_TV, Twitter.com, if it's still Twitter.com or X.com, whatever you want to call it now these days, /pitstoptv_. I think it's still Twitter.com, but it redirects to X or whatever. I don't. Elon's doing his thing. We still broadcast YouTube and Kick there on the right side. It's been a great season, I will say. A lot of great racetracks throughout the course of the season. A lot of great racetracks to come up. If David holds true to his word of what I think the schedule might be, we are in for some really cool racing. Throw this out the window, though. This schedule is done and gone. Ending up with this evening's all-star race at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. One more time, congratulations to Brandon Webb, and a big shout out to Siegel High Aviation and all the partners here with this D-Line Racing League, Elevated Performance, Lucky Motorsport Solutions, and so many more that put their hard-earned money into this league, their blood, sweat, and tears, it seems like sometimes. A lot of great effort goes into this league. David Levine, big shout out to you for making it all happen. And a big shout out to our partners here at Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Media Simcams, ATVO, and CC's Business, and of course those who make it happen behind the scenes with different broadcast elements in audio, ATVO, Whiplash Media Simcams, OBS, and iRacing.com. That will do it for us this D-Line Racing League season. Until next time, whatever that next Tuesday may be in the fall of 2023, thank you for watching. We will see you next time, hopefully for the UFL Elite Series at Chicagoland Speedway, September 6th.
If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, and you can race your way to a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor. If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350 today.